We all love our gadgets, right? The sleek phones, the powerful laptops. We celebrate the big brand names that make them. But what if I told you that the real power, the actual genius behind it all, comes from companies you've probably never even heard of? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most important and, frankly, most secretive companies in the entire world. Just think for a second about the chip inside your phone. It's not just a piece of silicon, it's a sprawling city of billions, with a B, billions of transistors. Each one is smaller than a virus, and they all have to work in perfect harmony. It is, without a doubt, the most complex thing humanity has ever mass-produced. So the question is, how on earth do you make sure every single one of those billions of parts is absolutely perfect? Well, you'd need a system that can see the unseeable. You'd need a tool that can measure things that are almost impossibly small. You would need a company that doesn't just make the chips, but a company that makes chip making itself possible. And that company is KLA. All right, so the chip industry's inspector. Let's start unpacking their business moat. So what does KLA actually do? And maybe more importantly, what makes them so untouchable? To really get that, we have to talk about a concept called a business moat. Okay, the simplest way to think about KLA is this. They are the ultimate quality control cops for the entire chip industry. They sell these incredibly precise magnifying glasses and scales that all the big players, Intel, Samsung, TSMC, absolutely need to inspect their work. Seriously, without KLA's tools, trying to make an advanced chip would be like trying to build a skyscraper in the complete dark. It's not going to happen. So this idea of a business moat, just picture a medieval castle, right? The moat is that big ditch of water that protects it from invaders. Well, in the business world, a moat is some kind of powerful, long-lasting advantage that keeps all the competitors away. It's what lets a company just dominate for years and years. And KLA's moat? Oh man, it's one of the widest and deepest you will ever find. And check this out. KLA's defenses are built in layers, just like a fortress. First off, their tools are so deeply integrated into their customers' factories that trying to switch them out would be an absolute nightmare, both financially and logistically. Second, their technology is this secret sauce, a mix of optics, lasers, and software that is just next to impossible for anyone else to copy. And finally, all that hardware is constantly feeding data into a powerful software ecosystem, which makes customers even more locked in. It's just a brilliant, self-reinforcing loop. But look, a great business model isn't the whole story. You need smart people making smart decisions with the money. So let's shift gears and take a look at the management team and how they handle their capital. The management team at KLA is just incredibly disciplined with their cash. They don't just let it sit there. No, they put it to work. They buy back a ton of their own stock, which shows you how much they believe in the business. They pay out a nice, growing dividend to their investors. And when they do buy other companies, they're not just empire building. It's always for a very specific strategic reason. These guys are masters at making every single dollar count. And this right here, this quote, is really the key to it all. They have not chased market fads outside their core expertise. Think about it. In the tech world, everyone's obsessed with the next big thing. But KLA, they just stay focused. They stick to what they do best, and they get better and better at it. That kind of discipline is so rare, and honestly, it's the foundation of their success. Okay, so it's a great story, a great business, smart management, but do the numbers actually back it up? Let's dive in and look at the proof in the profits. First up, gross margins floating around 60%. Let me tell you, that is a huge number. What it tells you is that KLA has insane pricing power. Their customers need their tools so badly, they're not going to argue about the price tag. That is the calling card of a truly dominant business. And if you thought that was good, it gets even better. Check out their return on equity. It is consistently over 50%, sometimes even touching 80%. Now, just to give you some perspective, most really, really good companies are thrilled to get 15 or 20%. This is, well, it's just completely off the charts. It's incredible profitability. And all that insane profitability, it translates into a mountain of cash. In fiscal year 2023, KLA generated over $3.5 billion in free cash flow. This isn't just some profitable company. This is a straight-up cash printing machine. And this is not some one-time thing. Just look at this chart. Their free cash flow has more than doubled in just 5 years. That kind of incredible growth is the direct result of having that dominant market position and that disciplined management team. They're not just surviving out there, they are absolutely thriving. So we've got this dominant business, a massive moat, brilliant management, and financials that are just jaw-dropping. The next logical question has to be, okay, so what's a business like this actually worth? To figure that out, we have to make a few assumptions, but let's keep them reasonable. We'll start with their actual $3.5 billion in free cash flow from 2023. We'll assume a pretty conservative 10% growth rate for the next 5 years, and then we'll use a 9% discount rate just to account for the usual ups and downs of the chip industry. See? No wild guesses here, just sensible, grounded numbers. Okay, so you run those numbers through a model, and you land on an estimated intrinsic value somewhere in the neighborhood of $580 to $650 per share. Now, you can take that number and compare it to whatever the market price is today, and that'll give you an idea of whether this hidden giant might also be a hidden bargain. But the real takeaway here isn't just about KLA. It's about the framework, the way of thinking we just used. When you start looking for companies with these deep moats, really smart management, and amazing financials, you can start to uncover all these other hidden giants that are truly powering our modern world. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. KLA is one of these invisible giants, right? But there are others out there. What other companies are the secret foundation of our world, hiding in plain sight? Once you start looking for them, I think you'll be pretty surprised at what you find.